Alright, we're going to do State Street the other way. At the Royal Inn, this is a place I stayed several times. It's not bad. The guy, obviously the owner, so there's so many motels, and the rest are owned by Indian Americans. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's like a Cambodian donut shops or something. Kind of. And I stayed there. So this is 72nd South. This is Sandy. This all got built up in my lifetime. You know, we live in Mill Creek. We didn't, you know, we weren't into Sandy, but it was building up. It's a pretty good place to stay. That's Post Malone's own personal. That's, see those face tats? That's Posty. Post Toasty. This is the street that Utah Business was on when I worked for Utah Business Magazine. So there's a branch of the Hires Burgers. This mall, I have kind of a bad memory. There was a kids kind of a thing there. And Jack had one of his birthdays, and my dad brought him this bike and everything. And I made the comment that Keith from Itochu, this must be a classic Japanese insult. It's what you in the room counting your money, something about counting your money, so he knew I knew. And that was very nice. All in all, Jack a bike. But, you know, hey, misinformed people do stupid things. That was Trump these days. So, yeah, so this is, it's been here for a while, but it was farmland. It used to be 27 South was the end of Salt Lake. Reading Richard Reiser's, what Richard Reiser had written, that back there where Jess and Leah lived was kind of the end of things, and it really was. But it's also, in some ways, it's just a halfway point. It's also really good access to the skiing. You saw a skier there. So that motel that I had to put out a cash deposit, that's because of ski boats. Anyway, we're coming up on the Utah Business Magazine, right here, right to this, right there, this far building. It was a good job in a lot of ways. I don't know if I should have stayed much longer or not. I should have just bargained with the guy. I look all back and all of that. It's not perfect, you know. One thing I kind of learned from, this was a Hooters. Now it's a Korean barbecue. Is that when you take something to the simplest, most form, and this is something I learned from the Japanese, is that it's just, as an object, there's less to criticize, but then you get a bunch of stuff in there. It's not as good, but anyway, I'm glad I had that job. I wonder what Martin is doing. See, across the street here is where John Elliott lived when he worked at the Marriott. John hasn't gotten back to me. I don't think John. I don't know if John read what I wrote about him in that Greek fable and wasn't happy. Whatever. I'd go see him if he wants to, but, you know, he doesn't. So, Thai place, that's been there for a while. This Get Some is owned by a Steve Jerman. They say you put all the Steve Jermans together, you have this incredible creature. He's an accountant, he's a dentist, he's an engineer, he's a designer. Okay, beyond there is Fashion Place Mall. One of my dad's defining Cases was a Fashion Place mall in the 70s when it caved in because of the snow, and they were trying to figure out who to blame. Of course, he had the insurance company. That went on for years. That's how he knew of Newland Malmquist, who was an engineer, Chris Malmquist's dad. Kind of an interesting little thing there. Chuckarama, you know, it's the buffet in Utah. Up Chuckarama. I will eat there. There's only a few things that I really like. I like the carrot salad, the scones, which aren't great but okay. Honey butter, their rolls are okay. Fried chicken's okay. Their beef, steamship with round beef is okay. But like everything else, it's getting so expensive. It's not worth it. I always feel a little ripped off at a buffet. At a restaurant, I can take my food home and enjoy it. But these are all built around that basic core that was there since the 70s. But I usually go there if I come to town because it's one of the more lively places and all the stores are there. Shake Shack, I've never been to Shake Shack. But, you know, can it be Crown Burger? I don't know. We might have to split this into two. Nickelmania. I think Jack might have been gone there, but I never took him. This is also where like the Egghead software was. That's something that's totally gone too. Village Inn. You know what you're gonna get. The pancakes are okay. Pancakes are good. I always like their pancakes. Seems to be a lot of Brazilian steakhouses in Utah, and I think it might have some kind of Mormon missionary effect. Mickey D's. It's another shop that is across from South City Campus. Okay, now we're getting up to the hardcore car dealerships at Murray. Larry H. Miller. You might have heard of him. I think his old lady is the second richest person in the state. The first richest person is some computer guy thing that's pissing everybody in Park City off. I don't know how he's going to live his life. This house above the hill in Park City when everybody's pissed off him. The only reason to live in a town like Park City is you walk out the door, walk down the main street, walk in a bar, and people know you by name. Otherwise, you're just looking over these things of all these people who hate you. Down to kind of a funny story here. I used to come up this 56th, and when I was working at the Craft magazine, the minute I left, I had this toker where you could just fill it and smoke, and I pretty much lit it up the minute I got in my car. I didn't like that so much, and anyway, I would come up there to go home, and some African guy rear-ended me, and I was worried because it smelled like weed, so I took that thing and I threw it out. I went back to see if I could find it, and I couldn't. He was like, "You're so nice." Why you? I didn't get mad at him rear-ending me. There's old Murray Hall. My dad didn't like to go and try cases for 7-Eleven. Now we're getting into Old Town Murray here. Music store's been there for a while. There's a mortuary up here that's handled Mark Taylor. was in a different day though. Now people just expect you to put the credit card down when you order, but back then you produced $4,000, $5,000 from Japanese people I didn't even know. Right in the first one here. View of the Paradise Buffet. This is where this is one of those Chinese buffets, and the man with the big appetite, Brian Staker, used to like to go there. So me and him up there, maybe Melissa Merlot, Victor, but mainly we went there to see Bobbers the Clown. We went on clown night. He would give us some balloons.